In Florida, climate change would seem to be a significant issue because it affects sea levels. In fact, Miami is considered one of the cities most endangered by climate change in the entire country. So we go to Mediaite here for a report. Last year, the National Climate Assessment named Miami as one of the cities in the United States most vulnerable to damage from rising sea levels. A Southeast Florida Regional Climate Compact paper has also warned that water in the area could rise by as much as 2 feet by the year 2060. Now, you would think that that's a very, very important issue for the governor of Florida, Rick Scott. I mean, if your state is surrounded by water and your largest city is under the greatest threat, well, that could be kind of an issue. So when Rick Scott was asked about this, last year, as Mediaite explains, a reporter asked Scott whether man-made climate change is significantly affecting the weather, the climate. Scott tried to change the subject and replied, well, I'm not a scientist. Well, I'm not a scientist either, but I'm also not an idiot, and I could read the reports of the scientists. I could read that 97% of climate scientists say that it's absolutely true and that Miami and Florida are in danger. You don't have to be a scientist to be able to read. Okay, in 2010, his answer was even clearer. They said, do you believe in climate change? He said, no. The good people of Florida, in their infinite wisdom, decided to make this guy their governor again. Well played, Florida. Okay, now it gets worse. Now, facts are inconvenient for the Republicans of Florida, so they'd like to ignore them. And this is where it gets comical. Officials responsible for making sure Florida is prepared to respond to the Earth's changing climate are barred from using terms, quote, global warming and, quote, climate change in official communications, emails, and reports, according to new findings from the Florida Center for Investigative Reporting. Such a right-wing gut reaction. All right, how do we get other people to stop talking about facts, knowledge, and truth? Oh, I got a great idea. Let's just shut them up. Let's just censor them. Actually, the right-wings in the Muslim world would totally agree. I don't like your cartoon. I'm just going to shut you up. I'm not going to have a debate with you. I'm not going to exchange ideas with you. I'm not going to look at your facts. I don't care about your facts. I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm going to shut your mouth. Now, they do it with a certain kind of force, but the governor also has force. He has the ability to tell the employees in Florida that they will be fired if they talk about these things. And apparently that has been made very clear. So this all started in 2011 after Rick Scott won his first term, and they pick it up from here by then explain that Deputy General Counsel Larry Morgan was giving us a briefing, one of the people who work for the state of Florida said, on what to expect with the new secretary. Byrd recalled, that's the guy we're talking about here, saying he gave them a warning to beware of the words global warming, climate change, and sea level rise, and advised us not to use those words in particular. All right, let's get more specific. Florida Department of Environmental Protection former employee said, quote, we were dealing with the effects and economic impact of climate change, and yet we can't reference it. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. So if you're wrong and you got no facts to back you up and you can't even make a counterclaim, well, what do? You just make your opponents stop talking. You use the force of law and threats of being fired to say you are not allowed to mention those things because we're wrong and we don't want you to talk about it. It's an incredible admission of defeat on the facts. But Republicans, and particularly Rick Scott in this case, have got a long, long history of not caring about the facts at all